1 month ago, I tried making a video on the Deshaun Watson situation, and YouTube pretty much demonetized it due to it being a controversial issue. And in YouTube's defense, this is an extremely controversial issue, so I have to really be careful as I discuss it. But in the event that this video gets demonetized, just please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and turn on my notifications, because demonetization does take away your revenue, which it doesn't really matter to me so much. What matters to me is if your videos get demonetized, then the video will not be shown to a new audience and your channel will be less likely to be recommended to a brand new audience. And we could kind of counteract that with you guys subscribing, turning on our notifications, and leaving a like on the video. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! In order to understand the full context of this Deshaun Watson situation, you need to understand what happened to Deshaun Watson in terms of his NFL career so you could really get the full story. So for those of you guys that are watching this that aren't really NFL fans, let me give you an idea of Deshaun Watson means on the football field. Deshaun Watson has always been notorious for his ability to play football, whether it was playing for the powerhouse collegiate program, which is the Clemson Tigers, and winning a national championship with them in 2016, becoming a two-time Heisman Trophy finalist in 2015 and 2016, and eventually being the Heisman Trophy runner-up in 2016, to his dominance and seamless transition to the NFL in 2017. In the 2017 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans saw their potential franchise cornerstone in Deshaun Watson after being in search for a brand new quarterback for the better part of the past decade. And at the time, the Houston Texans were absolutely stacked. They already had two remarkable edge rushers in Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. They had a go-to wide receiver that was still dominant despite not having any notable quarterback throwing him the football. And the presumption was that if the Texans were able to finally hit on a quarterback, they would instantly be Super Bowl contenders. And with that in mind, the Houston Texans made probably their best move and most brilliant move of the past decade when they decided to trade up from the 25th overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft to the 12th overall pick to select Deshaun Watson. And that move paid off almost immediately because during his rookie season, Deshaun Watson would dominate in the 7 games that he would play, throwing 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for 1,700 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns before unfortunately getting injured and missing the rest of the season. Now here's what's interesting. A week before Deshaun Watson got injured in practice, the Houston Texans decided to trade away their left tackle, Dwayne Brown. And as a result, there was a huge gaping hole on Deshaun Watson's blind side. As a result, when he returned in 2018 for his first full season in the NFL, although he was able to lead the Houston Texans to a 11-5 record and complete 68% of his passes for over 4,000 yards passing, in addition to 26 touchdowns, he also got sacked a league-high 62 times. And as a result, this kind of terrified the Houston Texans. So what did they end up doing? Well, a year later, they decided to trade for their potential franchise cornerstone left tackle, Laremy Tunsil. And in order to do this, the Houston Texans gave up 2 first-round picks and a 2021 second-round pick so they could get themselves a franchise left tackle. And this would be like the beginning of a series of fairly irrational moves by the Houston Texans, which was the first domino to fall in this entire Deshaun Watson saga, because although they got Laremy Tunsil to protect Deshaun Watson, they would also trade away their former number 1 overall pick, Jadeveon Clowney, to the Seattle Seahawks for a 3rd round pick and some role players, before finally, 1 year later, electing to make the worst trade in probably their entire franchise's history by trading their all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals for a washed running back by the name of David Johnson. Sure, they got a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick out of it, but for the most part, this was super one-sided. Now, in addition to this, you would think that the Houston Texans were doing this so they could not have to owe DeAndre Hopkins as much money, but they immediately turned around and paid Randall Cobb an above-market contract for him to come over and play wide receiver for them, and went ahead and traded that second-round pick for Brandon Cooks, another wide receiver that was being paid a decent amount of money to fill the void of DeAndre Hopkins. And if you think that's bad, get a load of this. Eventually, Laramie Tunsil realizes that he has all of the leverage in a potential negotiation with the Houston Texans, so the Texans have to ink Laramie Tunsil to a 3-year extension for $66 million for $60 million guaranteed. And what they could have easily done was just hold on to their assets and potentially drafted a left tackle with their number 3 overall pick this year, which is no longer theirs because it was traded to the Dolphins, who eventually traded it to the San Francisco 49ers. As a result of this, Deshaun Watson started to get a little bit upset with the Houston Texans. But for the past year, it was business as usual, more or less. Deshaun Watson came out, played his best season yet as a Houston Texan, throwing for 4,800 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, and completing an obscene 70% of his passes. And after firing Bill O'Brien, the head coach and general manager of the Houston Texans during the regular season, it was clear that the Texans needed to find his successor. So Deshaun Watson came out and said, hey, I would really like to be involved in whatever general manager search that you guys are going through. And ultimately, the owner of the Houston Texans, Cal McNair, told Deshaun Watson that he would be involved, and ultimately did a 180 and decided to hire Nick Caserio. And this just rubbed Deshaun Watson off the wrong way. At this point, he was thinking, okay, after everything that I put up with, after you guys doing a horrible job building a team around me, after seeing JJ Watt leave and just having a very bad start to my NFL career, I am demanding a trade. This brings us to March 16th, where the narrative shifts from, hey, is Deshaun Watson going to be traded, to, oh my goodness, is there more to Deshaun Watson that we do not know? When a lawyer by the name of Tony Busby posted this onto Facebook, pretty much stating and gloating about how he came from a blue-collar family and how happy he is to represent the powerless against a powerful person, and how he's not doing this for money at all whatsoever. At this point, we need to tread extremely carefully and remain as objective as possible in order to get both sides of the story. And one of the greatest YouTubers that does this on a consistent basis is a man that is also known as the Tan Superman. So I'm going to pass it off to my friend Jamari to give you an objective point of view about everything that's going on the legal side with Deshaun Watson.
So first off, I just want to thank Mike and the Mike Mafia for inviting me onto the channel today, and I look forward to creating more content with this man in the future. So of course, it's almost impossible to have a strong take on this situation due to a lot of the information being alleged at this time, and Deshaun staying pretty much silent up until this point. People seem to be in 3 different boats right now. You have the people who 100% believe Deshaun and say these allegations are coming at a way too peculiar time, with him recently asking for a trade, and this guy Tony Busby, who's representing all these women, being rumored to be friends with the Houston Texans owner. And then you got the other side who feel like over 20 accusations is way too many for him to be innocent. Lastly, you have the people who are waiting to see what the verdict says in court to decide whether to crucify anyone in this situation, whether that be Deshaun or his many accusers. That's my stance at this time, being someone who reports on these stories, and of course, it's innocent until proven guilty. With that being said, there's not a lot of concrete evidence as of right now. All we have is some text messages and personal testimony testimonies to really go off of, so this case could go on for quite some time. But it's safe to say this isn't a good look for anyone involved, whether it's Deshaun or the Houston Texans organization. And if there's one thing I think we can all agree on, it's that Deshaun made a huge mistake by personally contacting over 50 massage therapists in the last year, many of which were unlicensed as reported by the Black Sports Network. This man is one of the most sought after athletes on this planet and should really only be getting worked on by the best of the best in my opinion. And contacting 50 women via Snapchat and Instagram, like I said, it was a massive mistake. So now 22 massage therapists have come out with allegations against him, while 18 have come to his defense saying he was never anything but professional during their time working with him. Just yesterday, a Houston massage therapist who had a long-time relationship with Deshaun was saying how it made her uncomfortable when she found out that Deshaun was working with so many people, sharing texts that insinuate her and Deshaun might have had an intimate relationship, and that she was appalled when she heard he was getting massages from all these other women, and she says she even told him to be careful because his name was getting around in the massage therapist community. And after Tony Busby's press conference where the two victims spoke out on Tuesday, Beats by Dre and H-E-B announced they were dropping their sponsorships and completely cutting ties with Deshaun, while Nike suspended the athlete, adding the comment that they found the accusations against him to be deeply disturbing. I'm gonna let Mike get more into that and other information, but before I go, I just want to leave you with this one thought. If you're a man who has power or clout or money, or really anything that other people want, you don't go anywhere where it's just you and a woman who isn't your wife or girlfriend. Point blank, period. But like I said, we'll see how this situation continues to unfold. Once again, I want to thank Mike for having me on the channel. Shout out to the man who never sleeps, and shout out to the Mike Mafia. Alright, you take this thing over, man.
Jamari makes an excellent point when he states the fact that if you are a player that is as world-renowned in the NFL as Deshaun Watson, you don't want to just trust anyone to give you massages. Because now, even if Deshaun Watson is innocent, he has a lot of explaining to do. And today, Deshaun Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, came out and made a statement saying that we don't know what happened for sure, but how in the world are we supposed to respond if we don't know the names of the people? I've seen talking heads say that we can figure it out, but that's not what it's about. We're not here to guess. Deshaun has been getting 2 to 3 massages a week. The math on that is anywhere from 120 to 150 massages a year. In the year 2020, spas shut down and the massage world during the pandemic changed. That's why he uses Instagram to contact his masseuses. Millennials live on Instagram, Deshaun Watson lives on Instagram, and he does business transactions on Instagram. Hardin continues to say that I'm not about to accuse 22 women of ill motive, of lying, or anything. All I know is we're supposed to start out believing Deshaun did not do it, and that presumption on social media is pretty much gone. This is where things get a little interesting, because his attorney Rusty Hardin admitted that there were consensual encounters with the massage therapists, but says that Deshaun Watson never coerced or used his position as a celebrity to violate consent. The lawyers continue by saying that Deshaun Watson is very distraught at the situation. He's been having trouble eating or sleeping because his good name is beginning to become tarnished. They even mention how Deshaun Watson has been crying and finish their statement by saying that we should give Deshaun Watson the benefit of reserving all judgment until we have legitimate evidence. So to summarize everything, we only know 2 names of the plaintiffs so far out of a supposed 20 that are accusing Deshaun Watson of this act. Watson has contacted more than 50 different masseuses, and one of the masseuses even warned him that this is not a good idea because his name is starting to get out there. At this point, I am skeptical about the whole situation, and it's very difficult for me to give my full take until I really know what has occurred. So let me know in the comment section down below what your take is on this situation. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.